Good evening and welcome to May 25th at Putt Putt Productions as we count down to the release of the novella, The God Factor. So this is our fourth installment of Adventures in Sci-Fi. And once again, I only have a small tangential thing to present since I write more fantasy than I do sci-fi. Anyway, for today's installment, we have a brief scene that I wrote a few years ago for a contest. I didn't win. But it's a scene I've always enjoyed because it's from my childhood. Not necessarily, it's pure fiction from my childhood, but it's based on people I knew growing up. So, anyway, for today's installment, this scene that only refers to sci-fi. My nose started bleeding, whined Chris as he plopped on the ground, all white, freckled, skinny elbows and knees splayed as he held back his head. Great, muttered David, rolling his eyes at Peter, Valerie, and I. Peter looked thoughtfully down at his handlebars, black eyes boring into the metal, while Val and I grudgingly got back off our bikes, letting them fall onto the lawn. Chris always seemed to find an out when we started to do something he didn't feel like doing. If he felt like Godzilla while the rest of us felt like playing Planet of the Apes or Space 1999, he'd get a rash. If we all wanted to play Star Trek while he wanted to pretend we'd miraculously survived an end-of-the-world disaster and were the last ones left, asthma attack. This time we had all decided to ride our bikes to the playground. He wanted to stay inside on one of the last days of summer before school and watch TV. That's okay, Chris waved us on. You guys go on. I'll stay here, self-pity weighing down his every word. I watched as Peter chipped at some old paint, flaking it off with his fingernail. The sun bounced equally off the shiny chrome and the curly black hair. Though unspoken, he was the acknowledged leader. What Peter said, even remotely suggested, happened. Taking a deep breath, he looked up at the rest of us. David was biting his lip nervously, trying not to babble as he usually did when faced with the stress of a disagreement. Val and I both stood looking years beyond 13, adopting stances much older than we were, hips cocked in cut-off jeans and arms folded across our small breasts covered by our homemade halter tops. Peter's gaze seemed to linger there. Then he made his mind up. Okay, Peter said, letting out a breath. The rest of us slumped in disappointment, not even thinking about going off by ourselves. Watching TV it would be. You can stay here, Chris, until your nose gets better, Peter continued, surprising us all as a spark grew in his black eyes. You can meet us over at St. Joe's when you feel better, he finished with a wry twist of his lips as he readied to pedal off. Winking at the rest of us with a growing grin on his face, he zoomed off before we thought to get back on our bikes and follow. We had to heed the piper's call. Guiltily, I looked back as we rode away and saw Chris sitting up, his mouth opened in an O of disappointment. So there you go. That only slightly referred to sci-fi since, Space 1999 and Star Trek and stuff. So anyway, that's the fourth installment to our countdown to The God Factor, out on Sam Stop Publishing on June 1st. Thank you, and I'll see you again tomorrow.